Yes, you hear the music. Yes, you are aware of what's going on. It is Weebs of the Ring, presented by Animal Weave Studio for episode 71. And here's the rundown for the night. There is no grappling of the week because there'll be a spin-off coming show soon. Hold up. I knew it. I was hearing the show from somewhere else. Let me redo that one more time. I apologize. I was right here myself from a different browser. But hey, we're here to start the show. As you see from the new channel, we are Weebs of the Ring. Main channel, the spin-off for the actual content of all wrestling if you got anime in your soul. But as if this is your first time, welcome to a new channel. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the comments, because you know what we're going to be talking about? If you're in Nashville, it seems like it's the perfect excuse for everyone to wear a cowboy hat. However, the Bloodline dominates once again. They hold the tag titles. At the end of the day, like Jacob Fatu says, you acknowledge our real tribal chief. Additionally, right after, Bayley speaks to Nia and Tiffany, but to keep it simple, you don't want to patronize a stupid bitch. Other than that, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, returns and turns into one-on-one with him, Carmelo Hayes, for a #1 contender match for the U.S. title. But AJ injured in the process? How did it happen? However, have you ever gone to work and you want to throw a coworker into the dumpster? Well, go work for WWE, because they had a dumpster match. It was Michin versus Chelsea Green. And then we have a video package of a new tag team coming to your city. Let us know down below who do you think that is, or maybe if you see the time codes, we will talk about who it is. And for last and foremost, tomorrow's Bad Blood, so we'll be talking about predictions for Bad Blood and what's hype for it. So if you're hyped for the show, let's get ready for the beautiful intro that's going to be happening right now. Welcome! With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. Allow us to be your voices inside your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions of what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds. Grab your stool chair, yell for the table, and get pulled through an experience like none other. Brought to you by Animal Studio, and this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast for Smackdown coverage on October 4th, 2024. And tonight, your host, Legendary Vash, your visionary, your enforcer is what I'll call myself for tonight. And with me tonight is
the genius of the mat. Drop this box.
Yes, we're here to drop this knowledge for the night, for the coverage of Friday Night Smackdown of October 4th. We are entering the last quarter of the year. We're entering the go-home show of Bad Blood tomorrow. We are doing the PLE cover, so definitely check that out for tomorrow. And if you have been to the show before, a grappling of the week is what we usually start with the show. But we're going to be turning that show, that segment, into its own show, having its own news coverage, NXT, TNA, AEW, New Japan, conversational aspect when it comes to the week of wrestling. So stay tuned for that. You will find that out in the Weebs of the Ring spinoff channel right here. So subscribe if you want more of that content. Other than that, Smackdown, the show happened. To me, these 2 hours were beautiful, well done, beautiful, well written, and great entertainment. How did you feel about this drop?
I thought tonight was a pretty good show, honestly. Like, I did enjoy tonight's show. There definitely is a lot of stuff for us to sink our teeth into, speculate, especially when it comes to what could possibly happen tomorrow night, which is something that I am definitely excited to talk about once we get to our predictions for Bad Blood. But definitely a lot to come out of this show when it comes to SmackDown, at least when it comes to specific things that we've been talking about quite some time on this channel when it comes to certain storylines that are currently going on in SmackDown. So we definitely do have things to talk about when it comes to that.
I agree. SmackDown was really good so far. I really enjoyed everything. It was entertaining. We have a women's match. We have a promo match. We have more than one women match. Excuse me. And we have a ladder match that was said by Michael Cole in the first time in 5 years on the Friday Night SmackDown to have a ladder match. So it was beautiful to see that. What people were complaining for the past couple of months that we haven't had crazy segments or crazy matches on a regular Monday or Friday night show. Look what it is. We finally are getting this type of segments like we deserve. So I'm happy and hope the IWC could just shut the fuck up very politely. Like Bayley said, you don't know patronize a stupid bitch.
And we'll definitely get into the whole Bayley and Nia storyline a little bit later in the show. I don't know if you want to begin. I can start tackling the first thing to discuss.
Yeah, let's jump into the headline story.
All right. So a lot of us throughout the week, we knew that Friday was going to be the return of the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. I mean, that was definitely something I was very interested in because I was very curious to see exactly like, okay, what are they going to be doing with AJ? Because that was the part of me that was really thinking, I mean, he doesn't really fit into anything that's currently going on. I mean, obviously Cody and Roman are busy with the bloodline. Just throwing AJ in there wouldn't really make any sense. And I was thinking about the US title picture, and when I was like thinking about it originally, I was like, well, that was more of a LA Carmelo and Andrade thing, but it looks like they were trying to factor AJ into a little program with Mello. And like I said, we'll get into that in just a little bit when it comes to the details of that. But that was like one of the biggest things to come into when it comes to this show. And I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of what happened throughout that. And then me and Vash are going to be giving our thoughts. So if you guys like this new format, I discussed it with Vash before the show. We'll probably keep it going because I feel like, get a quick rundown of what happened, then give our thoughts so we can have fun with the conversation. Because, I mean, I'll admit, that's probably the thing I look forward to the most, because once you get out of, okay, this is what happened, and then you can do the whole fun conversation, that's usually where we spend some time to talking for a bit. So pretty much we have the show open with Hardy. They introduced Hardy there, which I believe, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but I do know that Hardy was a part of a pay-per-view not that long ago. Anybody in the comments, anybody watching this after it's done airing, be sure to let me know what show that was. I do not remember, but I know Hardy didn't get the best reception when he did his little performance a little while ago with that pay-per-view. Like I said, I can't remember, but I know he didn't really get the best reception for that. But he introduced AJ Styles, and AJ Styles came down the ramp. He said that he missed everybody, so we got AJ Styles as a baby face right now, so no more heel AJ. And we also didn't have the evil ways, and a lot of people are speculating. We saw that teaser promo. Oh, is AJ Styles getting evil ways back? His TNA theme. No, he didn't. He had the theme that he had before, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I didn't really expect them to change that anyway. That song is still pretty new, but I want to put past WWE for switching theme songs all the time. Braun Breaker is a good example of that. And then AJ Styles continues to say that he wants to rebuild the legacy of AJ Styles. Pretty much one of the things that we know, like AJ Styles says all the time, is that SmackDown is the house that AJ Styles built, which is very true, because if you guys remember back in 2016 of SmackDown, when Shane McMahon was there, you got Becky Lynch, John Cena, the rest of them on SmackDown. That was AJ's stick when he became the WWE champion. Dean Ambrose was there. He had a little feud with him. That was pretty much his thing, and it definitely carried over, and it became something great. So that's a nice callback to that. And one of the things that actually caught me off guard, because I wasn't expecting this, I thought AJ was just going to cut a promo, give us a good direction of what he was doing, which he still did. And we see Carmelo Hayes come out. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, getting Carmelo Hayes involved with AJ Styles is pretty cool. I mean, AJ Styles is a veteran. Carmelo Hayes is an upcoming guy. I thought, okay, you want to start a program between these two? I mean, I'm not complaining. They're both very talented, so I would absolutely love to see them in the ring, which we will talk about their match in a little bit. But Carmelo comes out and says that he is a huge fan of AJ Styles, which who isn't a big fan of AJ Styles? I mean, if Watkins was with us on the show tonight, he would probably be flapping his wings in excitement because he happens to be a really big fan of AJ Styles. Probably end up doing the chicken dance on the show. Who knows? And then we have Melo saying that he deserves to be U.S. champ, which we all know that's going to happen eventually. Melo, calm down. We know that's going to happen. We know that LA is probably going to eventually drop the championship to you, but just chill out for a little bit. And he pretty much talks about how AJ pretty much talks about how relentless LA is, because they were talking about LA for a little bit, which he's not wrong, because if you guys remember earlier this year, we saw the whole history between AJ Styles and LA Knight. I mean, you guys followed that story, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And AJ comes and says to Melo, if you were that good, you would be U.S. champ. And then Melo spins it around like he's Eminem, saying that if AJ was truly phenomenal, he would be U.S. WWE championship right now. And then AJ ends up saying that he wants a match with Melo. Like I said, I'm completely okay with it. LA Knight comes out, says AJ made a fool out of himself. We already know the little scruffle between the both of them, like I mentioned. LA says that Melo is going to be stomped out. And LA actually brings up something where he's like, if he can beat AJ Styles, then maybe he'll talk to Nick Aldis to see if Melo can get a shot at the U.S. title. And then one of the things that I was thinking about that is him and Andrade are currently at a tie again when it comes to their series of matches. So I can't really see anything coming out of that until Melo probably gets the win out of their 7th match. So we'll see exactly how that goes. I mean, we didn't really see any Andrade here today. And then getting to the match itself, we see that, where is it here? We see that, multiple chops towards each other. Nice drop kick by AJ Styles, like usual. Very athletic in the ring when it comes to both of them. Melo was looking outside at LA. The typical thing you normally see in the matches where they're, trying to taunt the champion. And then AJ's leg gets buckled, which will open up the door for conversation when it comes to me and Vash. And then the match stopped. LA Knight gave a BFT to Melo. And this begins our conversation. So that was our quick rundown. Like I said, if you guys want more of that, be sure to let me know. Thought it'd be fun to talk about what happened first. And then we can get into the fun conversation that me and Vash give you guys all the time when we do this. So I'm going to ask Vash, what did you think of the opening segment when it came to AJ Styles and the whole interaction with Carmelo Hayes? And after that, we can talk about like our overall thoughts on the match itself.
On the overall match itself, it was something. So AJ Styles coming out, being the babyface that he is, even commentators saying that he hasn't been here since July, since June, I believe, the Bash of Berlin match, since he said I quit. Even Carmelo threw a shade at him like, I'm shocked you're here. I want to be here because I've never been a quitter. So that was an interesting line that even Carmelo put out there. I love how AJ Styles even brought it up, to him. Like, if you are him, wouldn't you have been a U.S. champion already? And I love how Carmelo turned it around back to him, saying that if you truly are him, I mean, if you truly are phenomenal, you should have been the WWE champion. And I love how he started at the beginning, like, look, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'm actually a fan of you, AJ. Like, I actually fuck with your vibe. I fuck with you as a person. But I love how he said it right after, like, you one of them old school. Like, you've been in the business for so long. Like, I could just whoop your ass. So I love the attitude that Carmelo has and that he believes of himself. So that's always been entertaining of Carmelo, how comparing himself, who is a big dude but short, compare himself to AJ or Randy. Like, he always looks small when I see Carmelo now compared to other big dudes. So that's something that kind of is like a shock to my system. Like, oh, okay, that's crazy to remind myself.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, when I did the whole rundown and stuff, I wasn't opposed to this interaction because obviously we notice on Raw that Braun Breaker is getting a lot of treatment. He's getting treated very well. We saw recently that he was teased to have a future program with Gunther, which is great. You know, that's going to be something that we're going to see down the line. And I also wanted to see a little bit with that with Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo Hayes, again, like we talked about on this show, is going to be a big game changer. Like, when you look at WWE in the next 4 to 5 or 6 years or so, you're going to be seeing this guy having multiple WWE championship reigns. You're going to be seeing them winning Rumbles, WrestleManias. You're going to see them having Money in the Bank. I mean, this is going to be one of your top stars in the making. And with him getting involved with AJ, you know, I really like this because I was very curious, like I said earlier, what are we going to do with AJ coming back? And we got a little good idea with it, but I'm getting into the match itself, like I went over when it came to how the I'm not sure if I had any other notes on. Oh yeah, I did. So, oh yeah, AJ was later checked out by the doc. Well, so it was said that like once AJ was getting checked on by the doctors, that he had a left ankle injury. And if you guys happen to stumble across online, you probably saw a video that came out. I'm not sure if this was to me, I think it's just a work trying to keep it kayfabe, if that's still a thing. And I think it's just a work for the time being. Maybe we'll get a little story out of that. But we did see a clip come across online with AJ Styles actually limping. Well, not limping. AJ Styles on crutches.
Correct.
So I'm very curious to see what's going to be coming out of that. Maybe they have some potential plans. Maybe they want to go back to Melo and AJ down the line. Not entirely sure. But one of the things I do want to bring up that has been it surfaced online recently. I think it was like last week, maybe earlier this week. I can't remember the top of my head. But we do know that AJ is on his last stretch when it comes to his contract. He did say that he doesn't want to do WWE. Well, he doesn't want to wrestle for that much longer. He's probably getting to the phase where he wants to wind down and just spend more time with his family and everything like that, which all to him. I mean, he has a Hall of Fame career already. He accomplished a lot. You guys grew up watching AJ Styles. You know exactly what I mean when it came to him in New Japan, when it came to him in TNA and all that stuff. So I'm wondering is this going to factor in any sort of way when it comes to exactly what they are going to be doing with AJ Styles moving forward.
Yeah, even we even have Watkins in the comment section. He's saying, why did I see a video of AJ on crutches? And I told him to respond to that. It may be kayfabe or maybe be part of work. Watkins said, best be at work. Understandable, Watkins. We know that you're one of the biggest fan of AJ, the phenomenal one. So we understand that how you feel about this. I just wanted to add.
I think it's a I think it's a
We just gotta see how the time is.
Yeah.
If this was something that happened on the ring just by doing a backflip from the rope and like just landing on correctly on ankle, if that happened, hopefully it's a sprain. Things happen.
Yeah.
I have had sprains from sports, from an ankle injury, from work, or from sports, and you heal up in a couple of days. But AJ Styles at his age, and he was best to come back in his current condition. So it really depends on where we're going to move forward from, because he just came back. So it just depends on the news we're going to get the next couple of days. By next Friday, how we're going to feel. Like, most likely Nick Aldis will, shoot a promo saying that, hey, Phenomenal is back in action. He's going to have another fight with Carmelo. It's actually proved that Carmelo can actually win a match, since Carmelo wants to come up to Nick Aldis and say, yo, so you saw me take the W, right? So, as promised, I get that match. And Nick Aldis was like, boy, you lying to your face and to me right now?
Yeah, I know, because
you literally telling me that you won that match, my G? You know what? I don't got time for you. I would literally talk to you next week, while my priority is to make sure the guy that you supposedly beat or won is actually in good health.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like he came out there very cocky, which fits the character. I'm him. That's been Melo's thing for a while now. That's pretty much what defines the whole Carmelo Hayes character. But obviously, that's not really a win because pretty much that match came to a no contest. So you're not going to really be like, okay, I get a shot at LA Knight now. Like, no, that's not how it works in today's world of WWE. You got to earn to get where you need to go, unless you're a certain superstar that actually has that eligibility to cash in your imaginary money in the bank briefcase whenever you come back. But with the whole thing with AJ, like I said, I'm just gonna keep it a buck and say, you know what? We'll wait to see what happens. This could potentially be a storyline, or we might possibly wake up tomorrow morning. We get more details from Fightful or PW Insider or any other source that reports on this that may let us know about AJ Styles' current status, because it's really hard to really say what this could potentially be, because from the looks of it and based on the footage that we saw, it did look like he really did look like he sprained something. So we're just gonna have to wait and see exactly how everything unfolds. But I'm gonna keep it like that for now, and then we're gonna see exactly where this story leads to. And just to wrap up Melo throughout the SmackDown part of our discussion, we saw him come across. We did see him come across. Actually, no. You want to save this for the Chelsea Green discussion? We'll just save it for the Chelsea Green discussion. But yeah, those are just all my overall thoughts when it came to the opening of the show. So I'll just keep it like that.
Yeah, the match overall, I like what Carmelo did.
Yeah, I did too. I mean,
Hey, if you are the person that literally got drafted as first pick round and literally went to Cody Rhodes and said that, yo, let me actually take a hand at that belt since I got drafted first time and everything, and I know I'm that good. Let me actually get a chance with you. And for him to continue doing the same thing after months later, I'm not shocked. Carmelo got balls. That's all I gotta say. He got huevos. He knows man knows how to talk. Man knows how to walk it. Knows how to back it up. Even if he takes it no contest W, my man knows how to do it.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the only thing I could really see them do at Melo, if they're going to give this AJ thing a little break to see where it goes, is you got to finish that best of 7 series. So more than likely, that's probably Melo's next direction. I would assume probably next Friday we see Andrade again. Excuse me. And they finally settle the score to see who really comes out on top, because they're both tied 3-3 now. So you got to get that out of the way before you even think about putting Melo into a U.S. title picture. So those are my thoughts on that overall. Like I said, just going to keep it there. Don't want to keep extending, reiterating things. So we'll just keep it right there.
Yeah.
I believe our next thing was the dumpster match, right?
Yes.
Or was it something before that?
The next one was the dumpster match.
Okay, so we know this has been teased for quite some time now. We've seen vignettes. We've seen Chelsea Green talking about the kind of training that she's doing and everything. We've seen them cut promos on one another. And we knew this dumpster match was coming this Friday. I mean, because, sometimes they like planning these little special things when it comes to these go-home shows. I mean, on Monday, we saw the last monster standing between Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, and then Friday we have the dumpster match, which was actually pretty entertaining. I did like it. It was a lot better than I anticipated, because I'll admit, I'm going to keep it a buck, and you'll probably know me throughout the show. I like being very upfront when it comes to a lot of things. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, because I want the people that come across here to get my full-on opinion on things. And if we have different views on things, that's perfectly fine. That's just how the world works, and I'm completely okay with that. People have different perspectives on things. But with this dumpster match itself, we pretty much like the whole rules of it, just like how we see casket matches. Like, if you guys remember the kind of casket matches that Undertaker's had.
This is what this reminded me of. Once, I think Michael Cole said it, I think 2 times, 3 times during the match, because we had our girl Michin get in the dumpster first, but Chelsea had to run around to cover the the dumpster to actually call the W, and that's what the
Yeah.
ref was waiting. So I understood that she had
Yeah.
to get in the dumpster, and the match was won. But once Michael Cole explained it that the dumpster has to be officially closed, that reminded me of the casket match with Undertaker. For anybody that don't remember,
Yeah.
please go watch them, because with Undertaker coming out slowly, he's like, "Oh, the caskets is not fully closed. I'm still
Yeah.
alive, bitch." So I really love
Yeah.
that,
So,
going back to the old school type of concept of it.
yeah, so like pretty much just to go over the rules of the match, because I wanted to write them down just in case there's a little confusion here, even though we found out about it throughout the show, but it doesn't hurt to go back and talk about it. There's no disqualifications in these kind of matches, no countouts. The only way to win is to have your opponent inside of the dumpster and close it. You can't just be in the dumpster and just sit there, because obviously we saw them go through the dumpster and the match did not end there. But just to go over the match real quick, we got the kendo sticks. Obviously a typical thing you've been seeing a lot when it comes to kendo sticks, are always showing on the show, almost like pulling out a lightsaber out of nowhere. But the kendo sticks we saw with Michin and Chelsea Green, a lot of weapons were out. Obviously you would expect out of a match like that, because you got to make sure you're using, like, chairs or kendo sticks, wherever it is, to wear down your opponent in order to get them in that casket, to get them inside that dumpster, so they're able to not get out of it. And one of the spots I did like before we cut to the commercial break, which Vash is a very big fan, just to keep you guys aware of that. Whenever we do get commercial breaks, Vash is a very big fan. He not really a big fan of picture, because whenever we do get picture, Vash gets very upset, because he doesn't really like seeing the matches when we're on break. He actually likes coming back. He actually likes coming back to see, like, okay, this is where we're at now, almost like you're skipping through a VCR or something like that. You're trying to skip to that certain part of the movie, like you're trying to skip to that part when Tobey Maguire gets that black suit and stuff like that. That's pretty much Vash when it comes to commercials. He really likes getting to see what happens next. And I do like, before we hit that, we saw that Chelsea threw Michin against the cover lid. I thought that was a really nice spot. I did want to point that out. And one of the other things I really did like is the German suplex that Michin did to Chelsea Green throughout the match. Like, Michin was definitely all over the place, which is why I've been like, I'll admit, at first I really wasn't like all over Michin, like when it comes to, like, being like fully into her. But I will say this, after a while, she did grow on me.
Hell yeah, girls been putting the
So,
work.
yeah. So I started to become like more of a fan of her, and I really do like seeing Michin whenever she comes out. And I did like how, she did a lot of good spots, and I liked, I think Vash put this here, that Chelsea did a Canadian Destroyer.
Oh my god,
which
yes.
was pretty good.
Which was
Which
fucking
was-
phenomenal. The one thing that kind of shocked me is that her face, her reaction of how also Michael Cole said that, look at Chelsea Green, she's even shocked that she executed the Canadian Destroyer. And I'm like, and her reaction actually does prove Michael Cole's point, because after she executed, she was like, oh shit, I did it, I executed it. And it just looked amazing. I was so proud of how Chelsea Green has been putting the work since like 5 months ago, since after WrestleMania, being part with Piper Niven. And I love how, as a group, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green hasn't gotten stale. They continue being important to the mid-card storylines and being important to the main event of the women roster, like with Piper Niven going for the title back with Bayley back in June and everything. And now Piper Niven and her continue being important, having their own rivalries with other wrestlers. And to prove the point with Michin, she's been putting the work from Tuesday NXT to Friday Night SmackDown. So she's been putting the work in the hustle, where a lot of people can't really say that they're the same. So I really love that. The whole Canadian Destroy was amazing. The senton on the garbage bin with Chelsea Green right after was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love how Michael Cole, or I think it was Corey Graves, that gave a reference how Michin got done by that by Nia weeks prior. So I love how they just add that reference, like, oh, look at this, she executed this, which was very similar who Nia did it to her weeks prior to her match. So I really love that.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice spot. I mean, that definitely was one of the spots that definitely stood out to me the most when I was watching this match. And like you just brought up, Piper Niven did interfere in this match, which I was expecting. I mean, wherever Chelsea is, Piper's going to pop up eventually, almost like, SpongeBob and Patrick being around each other all the time.
As always.
And you got,
Oh, it's like a piece in a pod. Like, if you find Chelsea,
yeah,
you're also going to find Pepper Niven with it. And by the way, their outfits, pure construction type of dumpster type of, like, some type of garbage people, which, like, Chelsea,
yeah,
like, and Piper just did an amazing job for the execution of the wardrobe. And I love how she executed the outfit so well. And she's just a great acting whenever she sells her spots.
yeah. And even the outfit that Piper was wearing tonight was very similar to the kind of outfits that Vash wears when he goes to walk his dog.
Oh my
Tends to
gosh.
put some outfits like that on.
But
But one of the things,
it was hilarious how also Piper Niven wears a cowboy hat with the outfit too, which I'm not sure when Naomi or other people wear the cowboy hat because they're in Nashville. As I said,
yeah,
as I said, a joke in the Stampede in the beginning, but to actually have a cowboy hat with a dumpster type of outfit, which was so random. But I really gotta ask
yeah,
you a question, Drop. To me,
what?
this was one of the best spots in the match with
Yeah, I was just about to get into that.
Michin doing that damn fucking power bomb
Oh yeah,
on the garbage can table that was with it. That execution to me is one of the best spots that we've got it with a table and a dumpster involved with it.
yeah, I did see that. That was I was just about to get. I was just about to get into that because, I really liked the end of that match where you had to do the power bomb to Chelsea, like Vash went over, and then Michin was able to pull out the dub, and she was able to win that match. I thought that was very well done, and I definitely expected to see Chelsea all dirty because just jumping into this match, I mean, obviously you wanted to do like some sort of scene where like Chelsea had a whole bunch of garbage over her and she was freaking out, and we ended up seeing like a video later, I believe Indy posted on Twitter, of like her showering in the back to get all the stench off and everything. So I definitely expected
Oh,
Chelsea
I didn't see
to
that one. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
yeah, I definitely expected Chelsea to take the L within this match itself, but it was very good for what it was, very entertaining.
Yes, I agree.
And this just goes to show that eventually, when we get those mid card belts, we're not going to touch on that too much. This would be one of the best matches to have, just to give like a little storyline besides the main event picture for the girls to do something with. And it would be pretty fun if they actually had something to fight over. And wherever those titles do come, because I know it's rumored, I know they're kind of leaning into it now. I would personally just want one. We don't need two on each brand because then I think we're starting to get cluttered with a whole bunch of titles because then we're gonna have like I'm fine with having a main women's champion on Raw and a main women's champion on SmackDown. I got used to that. Tag titles, you got to push them a little bit more for me to really care that much. But when it comes to like a mid card championship, I rather than just have one, because you don't need to have one on Raw than have one on SmackDown, because then it just gets thrown all over the place. So I'm honestly hoping there's just one, because then it could float between brands, just like how the women's tag titles are, and you could have matches like this, have them have something to fight over.
It just depends
And when it
of
comes,
how. It just depends what Triple H
no, I get that.
is kind of leading
No,
towards too, because it really could go either way. The one and
I
one
get
or the
that.
one flow. Like it's a
No,
50-50.
I get that, but my main issue with that is the fact that we don't need this many titles, because it comes to a point where you have so many titles, you don't really know what to do with them. And then sometimes you're going to put more focus on one title, and then this one's going to be, you're not going to really pay attention to it that much. It's just going to be sitting in the background. You're going to touch and play with it. But then after a while, you're going to be like, you know what, I want to pay attention to this feud a little bit more. And then the other thing becomes stale. Like, it's too much to juggle. Just make one mid-card title whenever it becomes a thing, and I'd be okay with it. If they prove me wrong, okay, but I'm still sticking to my guns, and I'm saying that one mid-card title is probably the best. And the backstage segment, I do want to talk about, just to touch on that. We're not going to, break it down like a Michael Bay movie or anything. But we did see Austin Theory carrying a random cake, which was supposed to go along with the ongoing gag when it comes to Chelsea being very smelly because of her stench because of the match. We saw Nick Aldis making jokes with Chelsea Green, And then we saw Carmelo Hayes, which I wanted to bring up now, getting disgusted by the stench when he was talking to Nick Aldis, like we talked about earlier. So I pretty much gave all my thoughts. I don't know if Vash has any other things before we move on to the next segment. Any last things you want to say?
No, the last thing I'll say is that I miss Pretty Deadly because they're always in the backstage. They're most
Oh yeah, they were
likely
there. They were
they
there.
were there
Yeah.
as well. The Pretty Deadly gave the little humor of Chelsea Green stinking. Chelsea Green, didn't say a word. Her giving her acting, great selling. Her being annoyed. Nick Aldis, it was just smiling and laughing and snickering. And Chelsea Green just did her usual scream, and her type of Karen vibe. And it's always a good humor to see, talk about, and I just love the type of Chelsea Green in the backstage. She just knows how to balance with each type of superstar.
Oh, yeah, she's a very good character worker.
She is. Other than that, with Chelsea Green, can't wait to see what you pop up with next week. And is it going to be a round 2, round 3 match with Michin, or was it going to lead up to next, since this rivalry is kind of getting short? So I'm curious to see what's going to be happening. Is it going to lead up to something, or just a regular type of rivalry to move forward with?
Yep. So our next segment, I believe, after this was was it the video package, or was
Yes.
it Bayley?
If anything, let's touch on the video package since it's a short one.
Yeah, yeah, we should. Yeah.
I'm going to go real quick because for anybody that doesn't is aware, there was a video package for somebody coming, somebody approaching. They show some car lights, some fast lane type of headlights, car type, some type of city, some type of legs, but we don't know who it is. It's just it's coming soon. When it means coming soon, for anybody is unaware, they're talking about Motor City Machine Gun Tag Team. I myself haven't done too much research to be familiar with them. I know of them from their indie work and their a bit of the career from few clips I've seen online, but I don't know too much of their history. So I'm gonna pass it over to Drop to give more of their background and any information that we're good to talk about right now.
So I will say this: I am not completely like, I don't know all of the history behind Motor City Machine Guns, but I do know that that was the tease that we did get tonight, because I do know about their involvement with TNA, their indie work, and everything like that. They are a very good tag team, so they are going to be a very nice addition to SmackDown. I am very curious to see exactly what they're going to fall into when it comes to exactly like their overall presentation, when it comes to, okay, who are they going to target? Is it going to be a face team? Is it going to be a heel team? But I will give some insight on this. And what I'm pretty much going to say is, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys were online and you've been hearing nothing about when are the Motor City Machine Guns coming? When are they coming? When are they coming? When are they coming? I've seen numerous reports. I've seen numerous conversations. A lot of people wondering exactly where their whereabouts were. And when it comes to the Motor City Machine Guns, they were actually originally supposed to be at NXT. That's what the reports were saying. And I personally thought that they were going to appear next week when it came to the match between Nathan Frazier and Axiom against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I felt like they were going to come out towards the end of that match and debut there. I feel like that probably was the plan, but I do know this probably has to deal with the whole Lucha Bros situation, because if you guys noticed online, Lucha Bros, a lot of speculation saying they were coming to WWE, but then Tony Khan added injury time to the Lucha Bros. It wasn't Penta, it was his brother. It's the names aren't running on the top of my head.
His tag partner was getting more time to it, and
yeah,
I love how Tony was trying to be spiteful, like, hey, you're trying to get them. And then for anybody that has been online on social media, also WWE said, cool, we're gonna trademark some work of ours that you cannot use no more. And
yes.
Correct. What Drop just said, the yes chant from Daniel Bryan, or for his name in AEW, Bryan Danielson. So he cannot use that
Yep.
word no more because Tony wants to be spiteful. Then WWE say, all right, cool. You want to be spiteful? Us too then. Put a sock in it. That's it. So
Oh, it was Ray Phoenix, but pretty much the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because this was supposed to be the slot for the Lucha Bros. But since plans changed and since time got added, nothing's confirmed, but it's speculation and it makes sense just given the sort of context that we know. So now instead of going to NXT, the Motor City Machine Guns are going to be appearing on SmackDown. So I'm super excited about it. You know, based on reports I've seen, it was said that merchandise is already made. They already got the theme song all sorted out and everything, whatever entrance song, whenever they come out and everything. And I'm all for it. I'm not entirely sure when they're going to debut. Highly doubt it's going to be tomorrow because they just teased it. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly what the next video package is, because I know next SmackDown will probably get another teaser building up to it. And I'm all for it. Definitely would be a good addition to the tag team. I'm hoping that they're used well. Do not want to see them being fed to the Bloodline. I love the Bloodline, but I really want a lot of other tag teams to get a lot of love and stuff like that. So I really do hope that, you know, they get proper treatment, because a lot of people are excited about this, and I'm just curious to see where it goes. Hopefully it's good things.
same. I'm excited for this. I'm unaware of their repertoire, but I'm excited to see what they could bring to the table to the tag team division, because SmackDown needs more tag team to be used. And since we only have right now like a rotation of DIYs, Street Profits, the Bloodline, and that's about it that has been seen in over the past couple of weeks. So we're also getting the return of the Viking Raiders, but they are going back to Monday Night Raw. So it's pretty exciting overall.
New name too.
Yeah, new name too. So if
I believe it's the War Raiders.
the War Raiders, thank you. I didn't try to mention it because in my head I totally forgot. So I appreciate you for bringing that up, Draw. So the War Raiders will be their new rebrand name. So I'm glad the tag team is getting
OG.
more saturated to the correct type of teams that we should that should be getting fed, hungry, because we need it. The tag team needs the extra muscle, the extra teams, because we need to get a little bit of rotation. As much as I love each of the teams, Street Profits, we need a bit of rotation throughout some of the weeks.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to our next segment, I believe this is when we get into Bayley, I believe. Correct.
We got the promo of Bayley on Nia. Bayley comes out and calls out Nia, said, bring your ass out here. We need to talk this shit out because I'm tired of you escaping me. And also you treating this fucking belt like it's trash.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, when it comes to Bayley, obviously she's one of the 4 horsewomen, and obviously when it comes to that championship, you know, Bayley wants to make sure that there's a lot of weight added to it. Bayley wants to make sure there's a lot of meaning to it. And like, just going over our notes right now, when Nia comes out with Tiffany, and once Nia and Tiffany get into the ring, Bayley did admit that, yeah, you know, Nia is very dominant, which she has, and definitely this new version of Nia has probably been my favorite, because
I agree.
this is probably the best version of Nia Jax, because before, I'll admit, you know, wasn't really a big fan, didn't really care to see her on television. No disrespect to her. It's not her fault. It was just how she was being booked at the time. But since we're in a new regime, she's getting proper treatment, which I really do appreciate, because, you know, you don't want to waste something and not do anything with it. So I do like how she is being portrayed when it comes to this new direction of her. But like I said, you know, Bayley told her that she's dominant, and one of the things I really do like that has been a reoccurring theme when it comes to actually, I think I threw myself off there. Basically, like, just to bring up what Bayley said, you know, Bayley's just always been that kind of person that really wants the title to shine, wants a lot of love to it. But now getting into what I was about to say, I do apologize for that. We're gonna look like idiots sometimes on here. But she was saying, she was talking about Tiffany, which has been one of my favorite parts about SmackDown when it comes to the women's storyline, because I am a huge advocate when it comes to women's wrestling. I like when the girls are getting proper treatment on the show. And one of the things I really do appreciate when it comes to Raw is that, you know, there's an actual story with Rhea and Liv. And I like how there's an actual story between Nia and Tiffany, because it's not very common to see that. Usually it's just focused on one thing instead of two, but we're actually getting focused on both storylines, which we really appreciate. And I like how Bayley is continuing that narrative that, you know, there's only going to be two people to take this from you, either me or Tiffany, and she is going to be using that briefcase to and Bayley's pretty much just saying all these things to, you know, screw up their entire relationship, which, you know, makes sense. I mean, if I was in Tiffany's prediction, I mean, just breaking down how Tiffany is in this current situation with her, you got to look at like how Nia has been treating Tiffany. She's pretty much been treating Tiffany like her servant, telling her to do this, telling her to do that, and if things don't go in her way, things will go her way. She'll get in her face. She'll, you know, choke her like we saw last week, and she pretty much just talk down to her and make her feel like complete shit. And one of the things I did like that Bayley says is how, you know, she's not gonna like patronize a stupid bitch, which was very funny, gave me a couple laughs, but at the same time, I can't blame Bayley for what she said, because if I was in Tiffany's predicament, I probably would have smacked Nia with the briefcase right there, and I probably would have took that title off of her. I mean, you're giving her a lot of fuel for her engine to really fire back at you. It's almost like if, you know, Tiffany was doing a diss track on Nia Jax or something. I'm not sure why I'm bringing that up, but hey, you know, we say random stuff on here. Tiffany has a lot of material to work with when it comes to...
I'm about to say, girl, Trick Williams out here?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what I'm trying to get with that is Tiffany pretty much has a lot of things that she could use against Nia when it comes to her reasoning as to why she cashed on her, which we'll probably get the reasoning of that once we, you know, get to the cash in, and then Tiffany explains what she did on SmackDown, I would assume. But, you know, we've seen throughout the weeks that she continuously, once Tiffany constantly gets bullied, and even Bayley made that pretty apparent that once she gets tired, she's going to be doing it. And the crowd was even chanting her to cash it in.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't blame her, but obviously tonight wasn't the night. Definitely tomorrow is the night, because we will get into that a little bit later when it comes to the conclusion, once we go over Naomi and Tiffany's match, when it comes to what happened backstage.
Yeah, that was
but this is definitely WWE telling us that, you know, keep close eyes on Tiffany Stratton, and they made that pretty apparent tonight when it came to what Bayley said and Tiffany's body language towards Nia, and even after what we saw with Bayley and Nia in the ring, you know, after Bayley was able to get the upper hand on Nia Jax, and she was like down on her knees, and Tiffany saw Nia and very vulnerable at that point, where she's like, oh shit, could I do this now? Because, you know, Nia was just laying there, and Tiffany was thinking about cashing it in right there. And that leads on to our conversation later. But I'm going to ask Vash, like, what was your overall thoughts on this? Do you agree with what Bayley said? Because Bayley definitely had a very good reason to say what she said, and especially when it comes to Bayley's portrayal, as we know her to be one of the four horsewomen, and what she brought to the table, and how she changed history with Mercedes all those years ago when they had that match at TakeOver, which is considered one of the best women's matches of all time. You know, Bayley knows how that title should be treated, and how she thinks Nia doesn't understand the significance of this title, because pretty much it's just not really being displayed the way that Bayley wants to see it. But I just want to give your input on this. Like, what are your overall thoughts on this segment?
Well, I just want to say, respectfully, Bayley and the girls there in the ring, they look amazing. They cook in a great, well-acted scenario into the roles. Tiffany cook in her acting, knowing how to show the tension between them when even Nia was at the corner and Tiffany was with a referee in the middle of the ring, even though it was going to lead up to her next match with Naomi. Just knowing that Tiffany was questioning, like, hey, do I do it? Do I actually catch this in? And, you know, Tiffany was just questioning her reality. Like, is this the right time? Is this the right thing to do? And I was like, oh, nah, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. So I just love that vibe. But when it comes to Bayley, She said things very well. It sucks that I cannot comment too much of what you said, Drop. That when it comes to Mercedes and her match at Takeover, I haven't seen those matches, so I didn't experience the great match or see the rise of the Four
We'll
Horsemen.
watch it one day.
Yeah, we watch it one day and probably do a little recap review of thoughts of Vash at the time. But with Bayley, I love what you said overall because I've seen the rise of the woman division of how it was earlier in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s the to the Divas champ transitioning into the WWE champ and then transitioning to the Raw, SmackDown, and etc. So I understand where Bayley's coming from. She has seen the woman division evolve, go from one to another, and see how much has gotten better. So
It was
with Bayley, one of my favorite lines is almost say when she told to Tiffany, like, "Yo, just shut up, you patronized stupid bitch." That's literally one of my favorite lines from Bayley. It came out of nowhere, and I didn't expect it. I really enjoyed it. And how Bayley was also instigating, but also trying to prove a point to Tiffany, like, "Yo, once Tiffany gets tired of you, like she's gonna cash in." And I love how Tiffany was just like, "No, that's never gonna be like that." But I'm like, "You're Tiffany. You're literally getting bullied from this big ass chick here, and you're not even saying a word. And you're just getting shots fired, and literally just no shield, no protection, just literally just getting shots fired at you." So I really appreciate that from the acting, from the ladies, and the storylines, even from what Bayley said a couple weeks ago. No, sorry, not even a couple weeks, a couple months ago, when she was getting interviewed by Cody Rhodes, that she appreciates what Liv Morgan and Rhea has been doing with the
yeah.
storylines and everything. That Bayley could be part of that renaissance of storytelling from the women division now in the Triple H era of where they could just tell a half a mic, a promo being built, and not even have a match, not even have a title match. It's just also two women just cooking. Just like we spoke about previously about Chelsea Green and Michin, we have Bayley, Tiffany, and Naomi being involved in this much later. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was Takeover New York Brooklyn for Sasha and Bailey's matches. I was drawing a blank earlier, not entirely sure why. It could have been the coffee I just drank, but that was the match. We will watch that one day, so Vash can get that history implanted in his head.
Yes.
But getting into the match itself, because this is pretty much what it was leading into. We had Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. We saw how that was set up last week when Tiffany came across Naomi in the hallway, and Naomi said that she wanted to shut up Tiffany, which is a common theme for a lot of the ladies whenever Tiffany gets in her face and says something smart. But before we get into that, I do want to touch on briefly. I'm not going to get super in depth with this, but we did see Naomi talking with Jada and Bianca, and the big three is going to be hosting Bad Blood, and it was Bad Blood, not Bad Plug. I'm starting to sound like Vash saying Bloodbath now. But the big three is hosting Bad Blood, and it was approved by Nick Aldis.
I'm
But
sorry,
now
guys.
getting into
The amount of times that behind the scenes I have butchered the word "bad blood" that nobody knows, and for me not to do it on screen, but it was dropped.
yeah,
That's hilarious. Side note, but
yeah.
we're good. The big three are hosting Bad Blood tomorrow. I don't know what that entails, but it's gonna be interesting. That we're gonna have the big three, Naomi, and the tag team women division hold
Yeah,
the host for Bad Blood. So that would be interesting.
yeah.
It's
Maybe,
exciting. And also we have our boy Metro booming, so it's gonna be an interesting PLE
yeah,
event.
yeah. Maybe they're giving out golden tickets to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Oh
Well,
my god.
we'll see what happen. We'll see what happens with that. But just getting into the match itself, we saw a nice running clothesline by Naomi to Tiffany. We saw a nice wasn't a moonsault, I would say probably wasn't a moonsault. It was a yeah, like I said, as the show goes on, we'll get better when it comes to calling moves. But we did see a nice shit. I'm drawing a blank. Vash, do you know the?
I
I'm
do
trying
not
to
know
think
the
of the
move.
name.
I'm still also learning the process of each move line. It was not a standing moonsault. I thought it was, but that's why
No, it wasn't.
um it was just a nice
Hold on.
flip. It was a nice counter flip. That it was made by Tiffany. She is showing the athleticism that even Michael Cole spoke about it. So it's a big shout out to her. knowing
Yep.
that knowing that she had the
But
history from gymnastic. That's what it is. That Tiffany
yeah,
was
that's and
gymnastics.
yeah, and that's definitely very apparent when it comes to a lot of the stuff we see from Tiffany, because she actually had a there was actually, we did see a really good counter by Tiffany within the match itself, which was very nice. I really did like that. You probably remember the spot where Naomi was I think Naomi was going for I think she was going for a power slam, but then Tiffany countered it, I believe. It but again, continuing on, we saw this beautiful drop kick from Naomi from Tiffany to Naomi to the chin, and we saw like good power from Tiffany as well, where kind of reminded me of like Super Cena whenever somebody was going through like a move from the top rope and they come down. John Cena just picks them up and then does a slam on them, or he sets up the attitude adjustment. That's kind of what it reminded me of when Tiffany was just picking up Naomi through that. And we saw that Naomi won with a very nice counter and rolled up Tiffany Stratton, which she ended up getting the dub with that. So
I just
that's
want to. I just want to go back to what you just mentioned. The power for Tiffany to catch Naomi in that. It was just great representation of how she was. Like I believe she had one knee down and one leg down, and just caught Naomi in the perfect adjustment of that. And I agree with what you said. It reminds me of John Cena a lot. Towards what he did, like crazy pickups with Mark Henry or the Big Show, where he did those like big spots. It reminded me a
yeah,
lot of that. The same thing with Tiffany. Like, of course, these aren't big ladies and everything, but more as just to the strength, knowing the power. Like, you just do all these ropes all quick and just to catch somebody and hold them justly, not to even slip them slightly, not even a slight mistake or nothing. That I just want to give the props to the strength of Tiffany and Naomi in a choreography work that they did.
yeah. And one of the things that Michael Cole kept teasing throughout this match itself was Tiffany cashing in, which, like we mentioned earlier, was a reoccurring theme, especially when it came to Bayley's promo on Nia Jax earlier, when she was talking about it's either me or her that could potentially take that title away from you at any second. And Vash did write something on here with Corey. Corey Graves mentioned the NXT titles with the North American Championship and the Roxanne's title when it comes to
Why?
WWE
Which I'm so
and NXT.
confused.
Okay,
It's like,
I'll explain why. They do this typical thing where it's like, oh, you have the Money in the Bank briefcase, you can tag, you could cash in on any title. That's just all it is. Tiffany's not gonna
no,
cash
but
in.
like, why mention it when it? Like, I get it. They're all part of the umbrella of WWE, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. It's the same thing, like the umbrella of MLB Studio, Weebs of the Ring, Annually Podcast, Showdown, Ronin, Off the Bench. So we have each our own shows. But then why would he say she could cash in when technically the Money in the Bank contract is for the Raw or SmackDown Women's title? Right now, she won the title for the SmackDown
Let's
show, so of course she's gonna go for the
let's
SmackDown title. But then
yeah
for NXT, we have the NXT contract. Like, that's their version of the Money in the Bank, where they could jump
yeah
into the line, like we did
yeah it's kind of the
with Lola
breakout.
Vice. With Lola Vice last year or earlier this year, where she had this with
Yeah, that
Roxanne.
yeah, that's with the breakout contract
So,
because
like, that's their version, which I'm okay with. But for Corey Graves to comment, and this is not the first time they comment this or bring this up, so it kind of
yeah.
bothers me. Like, wait, I get it. You need to, say for promotion or also to mention NXT for Kalani and Roxanne, but it's like, oh yeah, girl could also cash in for the title. I mean, for the briefcase for these titles. Like, no, can you just mention Liv and Nia? Like, those are the ones that she should go for and only go for. As for, I don't know, like, that just bothered me, like that one little nitpick of the commentary of like,
No,
why do we need to also go for possibilities?
no, I get what you're trying to say, but like I mean, technically she could use it on any title, but like I said, it's just a typical thing that they normally do because they want to just say to us like, oh yeah, she can go to NXT and do this, but we all know the real story is Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, so we obviously know she's not going to go down that direction. It's just for the topic of conversation of she can cash in on anything. Even when they mention when the guys have the Money in the Bank briefcase, when it should be for main event titles, but they're starting to lean into the whole narrative of cashing it in on the Intercontinental Championship or the United States Championship. It's just something they do for just to fuck around if you're in your head, even though you know the real story that's going on. That's all it really is. But the real meat and potatoes of this afterwards was the segment that we saw backstage with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, because we saw that Tiffany Stratton was walking alone after her match, and Nia approached Tiffany while she was walking in the back, asking that, I need you to promise me that you will never cash in, because she's always tired of these teases. Because like we see throughout these past couple weeks, you know, Tiffany Stratton's always put in a position where she sees Nia knocked down, and she's always thinking, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then we always see,
also,
Nia Jax just...
Why wait for Nia to even look at you? Like, when Nia turns
No.
around, pretend that you wasn't doing it. Like, pretend that you're not, like, so clueless. Like, don't make it so obvious. Like, Nia is, the monster. She is the unstoppable force. All right, cool. This is the character you're building. But, Tiffany, don't be the Barbie doll, or don't be the, the blonde chick that is very gullible. Like, be more smarter.
I mean, that's just going along with Bayley's whole narrative of how she's trying to patronize a stupid bitch. So
Exactly.
that's just following that narrative, but that's just the whole story here. That's why they're doing that with Nia and Tiffany, because obviously, looking at it from a realistic point of view, obviously you wouldn't do something like that, because you would want to catch them off guard. You would want them to not really catch you hitting him in the back of the head and cashing in that contract, but it's just all a part of the story, trying to tease that tension between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, which is why we end up getting segments like this. But continuing on, like I said, Nia even says to Tiffany that maybe you should focus on Liv Morgan's Women's World Championship, because that's a cash-in that you would actually survive. Which just tells me right there that, yeah, they're trying to get you to really feel for Tiffany Stratton with this whole entire storyline, because pretty much with this whole entire storyline when it comes to Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, it's pretty much like a bullying storyline, where it's like Nia Jax is like the head honcho, Tiffany Stratton is just, there with her, doing things for her that needs to be done, and then she just pushes her around, but things will get done accordingly. I mean, good examples, looking at the party that Tiffany did for Nia when she won the title, and Nia didn't really like to see all the pink there. She's like, oh, why'd you choose that color? And then just looking at, what happened last week when it came to the predicament that she was in, when it came to the match, and how she hit the swanton on Nia Jax during that tag match that they had. Just like all of these little things that Tiffany keeps doing over and over and over again, just getting under Nia's skin. It's almost like she's trying to taunt Tiffany in a way where it's like, you can cash on Liv and win, but me, you don't even stand a chance. And that's the whole point of this, and that's the whole point of the story, because they're trying to make you feel for Tiffany, which is one of the things that WWE likes to do. Because a good example of this is if we go back earlier to this year and we look at Bayley when it came to her relationship with Damage Control. Obviously, we knew that Bayley caused a lot of damage with Damage Control, and she ended up losing a lot of trust in the locker room. Nobody really wanted to associate with Bayley. Even after Damage Control broke up and kicked out Bayley, nobody wanted to associate with her because they couldn't really trust her, because
even
of all
Bianca
the things
don't want to still associate with her, because,
yeah,
Bianca
exactly.
approached Naomi to talk, and Bianca was all excited, and then she's like, I'm gonna stop talking. Hey Jade, let's head out. So like, Bianca still don't want shit with Bayley. Like, I don't care if you turn a new leaf and you're still looking, doing your thing. I'm gonna just walk away whenever you approach me or my friends. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But like, continuing on what I was saying, it's like they put you in a position where they really started throwing these things at Bayley to really make you think like, oh shit, that's really messed up that she's going through this. And then we look at the build up to WrestleMania, where they were talking behind Bayley's back and they were treating her like garbage and all that kind of stuff. And then finally getting that Bayley turn where the fans were behind her and were cheering her on when it came to her finally standing up to Io. this is what they're doing with Tiffany Stratton because they want the fans behind Tiffany. So once the cash in happens, it's a big moment. That's the sort of execution that they want to do. That's why they're throwing these sort of that's why they're building this story centered around Tiffany Stratton, so you can have sympathy for her when it comes to her finally standing up towards Nia and taking away her title because of how Nia Jax is treating her, which is something I can really appreciate when it comes to this storyline, because I'm just happy in general that the girls on SmackDown are actually having a storyline, just like how we are with Rhea and Liv on Raw. So I'm really glad with the sort of direction they're going down, and it definitely seems like they are turning Tiffany Stratton babyface, which has been teased for quite some time. Very curious to see how that's gonna go, because as far as I can say, I don't really remember Tiffany Stratton ever being a babyface, even in NXT. So really
I don't
curious to see
recall
where that's gonna
either.
go. I do know why they're doing it, because she's very loved over the fans. So they probably want to test it out and see where it goes. And you never know, it might lead down to something great. So we'll just have to wait and see where that goes. But we also don't know if she might just remain herself, kind of like how LA Knight is, and just keep that character going. Because yes, LA Knight's a babyface, but he still acts like LA Knight, just like Roman. Roman's a babyface now, but he still acts like Roman Reigns. So she could still have the same characteristics like Tiffany Stratton has always had. So we just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. But
And
we'll
another
talk a little bit
and
more
plus
about
another
Nia.
example of that is also Rhea. She's also was a heel,
Oh,
but then
I
got
will be
so
right
over.
back.
Copy that.
I'll be right back.
So she was so over by everyone that we got our girl Bayley. Oh, well, sorry. Rhea was so over, who was a heel, but then she just turned over as a babyface and still was loved by everyone and still her character. So it shows that. And to just pick it back real quick towards what Drop was saying, Nia, for you to tell me, tell Tiffany, saying that, hey, you should focus on Liv Morgan's World Women's Champion match tomorrow, Bad Blood, because that's a cash in that you will actually survive in. That means you're telling me that I'm not good at my job and I'm not gonna be able to survive to beat you. That's you telling me that I'm gonna lose to you. That I shouldn't go against Nia because I'm gonna be losing to you, and I should go against the easy opponent. And I really didn't appreciate that for Tiffany. And am I excited for Tiffany to turn babyface? Yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes. Because she's loved by the fans. I remember when she had her first PLE International. I believe that was Elimination Chamber this year. Actually, Elimination Chamber this year, and everyone was so happy to hear her at the Elimination Chamber event, and everyone in Australia will say it's Tiffy time. In a whole different country, even after that she got drafted early to SmackDown. So it shows for Tiffany to even become babyface in my workout for her, because she even went across the country, across the water, across the time zone, and she got loved by everyone, even being called for Tiffany time in a different country. So if the face turn happens, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see exactly what sort of direction it goes down. I think that's what I'm most interested in, is seeing the execution, because the execution will be very telling to see exactly what they do beyond that point when it comes to establishing Tiffany's character to the next level. So we'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens with that tomorrow.
Sometimes you gotta love your tribal chief, right?
Yeah, which leads us to our main event, actually. A little thing I will touch on, we did get a video package for the tag match, but we don't really need to talk about that much. We pretty much know the whole story behind that. No Cody tonight, no Roman. Makes sense. You know,
Which
they got
I'm okay with. Honestly, I'm
Yeah,
not
it's fine,
saying not saying that I missed them. I'm okay with that. And this was for anybody. For anybody that was wondering, this was our first SmackDown without Roman, our WWE champion Cody Rhodes, KO, and Randy. Our first actual SmackDown without them. And this to me was still a good 2-hour show. And this was our first and only match that had picture to picture. And I'm okay with that. Even though I would like it in every single match, I'm okay that if they're going to pick and choose which match to get its picture to picture, or if it's only for main event, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so going over what we saw Jacob Fatu just showing his love with Solo that we normally see throughout the week, where he was saying how he really loves his tribal chief. Nashville and everybody else loves their tribal chief, and they will continue to worship their tribal chief. And at the end of the day, you will acknowledge our tribal chief. So Jacob Fatu is just showing his appreciation for Solo Sokoa. That's his guy right there. He needs to show a lot of love for him.
And by the
Get
way,
that?
did you know that this was our first promo from Jacob Fatu?
Yeah, it actually was
Yeah,
very.
our first actual promo that didn't start. Yes, he kept saying, Jacob Fatu really loves the tribal chief, Nashville, and everyone loves our tribal chief. We will worship our tribal chief. At the end of the day, you will acknowledge our real tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. I love how throughout the whole time, it was a promo of Jacob Fatu, speaking from Jacob Fatu for Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief. I'm okay with that. Even though this was our first promo from Jacob, I'm okay. It was solid, it was straightforward, and he was speaking the most yeeted of yeet of Solo.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it just goes to show that once Jacob Fatu is able to break out on his own and cut his own promos, it's going to be pretty good. Definitely waiting for that day. This is just to help Jacob Fatu be familiar with the audience, and then once we get to that day, oh boy, we're going to be into a lot of good meals. But another thing to actually bring up is that this is actually the first time in 5 years that we've had a ladder match on SmackDown. And that's actually pretty crazy to think about when it came to this tag team title match. It's actually the first time we've had something like this for quite some time. So it just goes to show, how rare it is when we get certain events like that.
I agree.
But
That's something that I didn't expect to hear from Michael Cole when he said our first time of having a ladder match as our main event in 5 years. And that was something I was very happy to hear because, like I said earlier in the show during the Stampede, when people want to complain about a ladder match or complain about some events like, oh, back in 2009, we had John Cena, we had these characters for a main event. I'm like, you guys are speaking about something that was like 10, 12, 15 years ago. These people that you want as main event, we are having them. The booking may not be perfect, but we have the people that you are gonna love. Andrade, Carmelo, these other people that are putting the work. They are putting the fucking work, so don't complain. And we got a fucking match. We had a triple threat of a tag team match for a ladder match for the belts, to be honest. Before we talk about the match and how great it was of these characters and everything, all I'm gonna say is I was butthurt. I was hurt, very hurt, of the Bloodline winning for the main event and keeping or retaining, or the other word still is the tag team champion for the Bloodline. I know Solo Jacob Fatu was very happy at the end, but I'm gonna just say I was very confused, conflicted. However, until reminiscing and thinking about the results, I like it because it shows the Bloodline or the tag team, even Tonga Loa, it shows that they can actually be dominant without Jacob or without Solo or without the Tribal Chief. It shows that this is a dominant force or a dominant duo or a dominant Bloodline 2.0. So it shows the good teamwork and the good correlation of them. So I was very happy. Once I was thinking of the results, I'm like, all right, cool. This makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because you got to think about it like this. When it came to Roman's Bloodline, we did see, quite a bit. They took a lot of losses when it came to certain feuds that Roman was in. Either, Jay was being laid out, or Jimmy, definitely Jimmy, was always getting laid out all the time, or Solo was getting laid out all the time. So it's like, it's good to see that this version of the Bloodline continues to be dominant, because that's the whole point of this dominant. It's supposed to look strong. It's supposed to be something that Roman wasn't able to do before. And obviously, if you look at the future, when it's officially revealed that, The Rock is like the puppeteer behind this, orchestrating the entire thing, obviously, Rock wants to push it into a certain direction. This is just pure speculation, but I'm pretty sure we're on the on the ball with that. But obviously, you want this version of the Bloodline to look very strong because you don't want them continuing to take losses and everything because then they won't be taken seriously. So I definitely understand why they went down this direction. I will say, throughout this match, I actually was expecting Street Profits to actually win this. But after looking at it, like Vash says, it makes sense that they're doing a match like this, and I'm pretty sure if we do get Roman's own Bloodline together down the road, I'm pretty sure they probably want to do something where it's like Jay and Jimmy once they work stuff out against Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. Like, I'm pretty sure that's probably a match that they have on the mind that they definitely want to do down the road. It all depends how we get there because it's just Roman right now. There's no Jimmy or Jay involved, and you got to give Jay a legitimate reason to actually get involved because he's not going to just side with Roman again after everything that happened. But just going over this match itself, actually, I might actually throw the ball in Vash's court to see if he wants to go over the match itself this time because I have been doing it quite a bit throughout the show. So I'll let Vash give it a shot.
Look, I'm gonna just say I love the picture-to-picture throughout the match of the night. Throughout all the commercials breaking and everything, our boy Angelo Dawkins did a launching himself over the top rope of the ladder. He did such a fantastic shot. We had a double kick from DIY with, I think Tonga Loa was inside the ladder. He had the ladder on his neck. Both DIY, Johnny Gargano and Campia both hit him side to side from each corner. It just did a little spinneroonie with the ladder.
Are you talking about the meet in the middle DIY's finisher?
Correct. And but one of my favorites of this spot of the match, it was Montez Frog Splash on Tongaloa from the top rope on the outside. That was phenomenal. I believe he landed on the table, right?
Yeah, he did.
Montez Ford on the table with DIY holding him down. And then right after, boy Angelo Dawson did a power bomb with Tonga, with Tama Tonga. He did a power bomb on the announce table while DIY helped him out. But then I love how Angelo Dawson was just like, all right, guys, cool thing. And then DIY betrayed him. Of course, you got to remember, this is a triple threat match for a tag team title. So at the end of the day, you got to work together to take the Bloodline, put the numbers game. But one of my favorites, other than Montez Ford Frog Splash, it was his top rope over the ladder while Angelo Dawson was holding, I forgot who was he holding, Tongaloa?
I believe so.
And when he grabbed him, he was slightly off, but hey, for you to do that top rope, jump over the ladder, and grab Tongaloa down with Angelo Dawson right there, beautiful, beautiful maneuver. It was well done. And the DIY and the Street Profits taking each other down at the top of the ladder was a beautiful spot, but very saddened because at the end, Bloodline won.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty comedic to actually see Tama Tonga pull it off and actually win the match. And I do believe the move you were referring to was the blockbuster that Montez Ford did.
Yes, that's on the blockbuster. Yeah, I love how you brought that up just now. That Tonga Loa is the one that actually grabbed the belts.
I don't know if you noticed, but he actually did a little botch outside of the ring where when he was thrown like around the around the ramp, not the ramp. What am I looking for? It's not the ramp. It's the
the ladder.
What am I?
The stair. The steps.
No,
the steps.
No, I'm not talking about anything in the ring. I'm talking about like when you're outside of the ring, like the stuff that keeps the fans apart. It's not really.
Oh, the barricade.
Yeah, barricade. Thank you. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank for it, but there was actually a spot where Tonga Loa like was thrown towards the barricade and he was actually stuck there. And then the ref actually had to go over there and help him.
Oh, I missed that. most likely the camera pan out. I definitely missed that. By the way, I just want to give a quick shout out to the people in the comment section. I see the 9 likes there. I appreciate you guys putting in the work and the effort. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like if you're new to the channel. If you're already old, through the spin-off for the main channel of Anime Studio. We started our own channel because we have really great ideas behind the scenes and putting the works. So we appreciate you guys putting the likes. If you guys continue, put us some comment section and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, be sure to leave us any feedback. You know, you can comment your favorite emoji. You can let us know what your favorite scary movie is, because it is the Halloween season. You can let us know. And we are currently at 9 likes right now. So if we can get that to at least 10 before the show ends, that'd be perfectly good, because it helps us in the algorithm. It helps push the show out. And it's just nice to keep that engagement up. And also, you know, it's just nice to have that good interaction with the fans that are watching the show.
What I would say, other than the Bloodline winning, Tangaloa actually standing on the actual ladder holding the belts was something else impressive. Like, he wasn't just standing on the step, he was standing on the top of the ladder itself while holding the top of the chain. I'm like, bro, I've gone on top of ladders for work. I've gone on 25 plus tall ladders. I've gone on top of scissors. I'm scared shitless, and for you to do that, bro, your brother is holding your ladder down there. You have faith and trust. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'll legit say this. Like, it almost, I don't know if you noticed, but it almost looked like he was struggling to like stay in one spot. I was legit.
He was.
I was. Yeah.
But
I was
he
legit
put it off so
scared.
well.
Like, I was legit scared. Like, holy shit, is he gonna like lose his step or something? I mean, hold on to that thing as tightly as you possibly can. But or at least have the guys get into the ring again.
Exactly. Like, hey, if you fall, we gotta catch you or some shit in some capacity. So for overall, for that to work so well between the Bloodline to do well, they executed it, all the spots. Hopefully it went according to plan, like the script that they all plan out. The one thing I gotta actually drop, once the Bloodline, Tangaloa and Tamatanga lose the belts within the next couple weeks, because I hope they do, because I really hope it transition into an actual team and, you know, build them up for a title reign, where the Bloodline doesn't need it, but they're helping them to show the enforcer, the strength by numbers, and show the skill sets of the Tongas. However, would you say Street Profits will be the next one in line to hold its titles? Because I feel like the Street Profits should.
They could, but I'm starting to think, since we do have the Motor City Machine Guns coming in, and if you want them to get,
you think we're gonna put it that fast?
Oh no! Hold on. So pretty much what I'm gonna say is, if you want to have them get a couple wins under their belt, get an opportunity for it, and since it's been out there that they do want to help reshape the tag team division and everything, I would say if you want to put it on them and have them help mold the tag division on SmackDown, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad choice if they want to go down that direction. But at the same time, I feel like they kind of want to do that Jimmy and Jay match against Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, so I can't really see that being a thing anytime soon. So I think we get a good idea once we get into November, or maybe later in October. We can get a good idea when it comes to exactly how things are going to be structured beyond this point when it comes to the whole tag title situation, because obviously they want the tag titles on the Tongans, because you know the Bloodline, and you're always going to see them dripping with some kind of gold. So obviously that's just going to be a part of the story for the time being. And tomorrow, and then Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, will probably get a better understanding of the whole entire situation beyond them, because I mean, to be completely honest, not really the tag titles aren't really important in the Bloodline story right now, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly throughout these next couple of weeks where it possibly goes with them.
I agree.
Because you can't, because I'll say this though, you can't keep having like the Profits and DIY go up against them and consistently lose. Like, you got to really think like, okay, who's actually going to be a threat to this title? It's not saying that they aren't, but we've seen these matches numerous times at this point. So it's kind of like, what are we doing here? If you get what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, like You cannot just continue adding the same seasoning to the same dish. You can't. Like, hey, Triple H, I understand that you like to be cooking, but you gotta change up the you gotta start changing up the style. See what's different. See what's being what is going on with the characters in the aspect. And when you have DIY and Street Profits continue taking L's, it doesn't help when they haven't taken no W's recently. So you cannot have that being the case. So you gotta add different seasoning, gotta add a different taste buds for it. So overall, hopefully Street Profits gets a W of those titles because they would look amazing on them. I know Bianca and I know Montez Ford is waiting for this because Montez Ford has been patiently waiting to get a start time. Even if you want to push Montez Ford, go for the U.S. title as well. I have no problem, but I feel like they're ready for some gold around their waist.
Yeah, I think they're gonna save the U.S. title for Melo. That's my prediction. Well, for that.
It's crazy.
But
you're gonna give the U.S. title first to Carmelo before Montez Ford. That's crazy.
I mean, the story's calling for it.
Oh no, story-wise, I get it, but just to somebody who's been there on the main roster longer and has had more in that aspect more.
Oh no, I get that, but you know, when it comes to their upcoming talent, when it comes to a Braun Breaker and a Carmelo Hayes, if you want to build that parallel between both of them, you're gonna have to throw the belt at Carmelo Hayes, which I think would probably suit him very well. I mean, I can already picture how good that title's going to look on Carmelo Hayes, honestly. And then once he has a run with that for a little bit, he'll eventually be able to move on to the main event scene. But honestly, we went over the main show. We gave our thoughts on various matches, segments that happened. So now we are actually going to give our SmackDown overall thoughts, and then we will touch on our Bad Blood predictions after that. So I'm going to give my thoughts on SmackDown first, and then we'll pass the ball to Vash so you can let us know exactly how he feels about SmackDown. So pretty much my overall thoughts on SmackDown. Like I said, not going to reiterate too much like I already said already. If you guys want to hear what we're going to say, timestamps are in the video when I get a full-on explanation. But I thought it was a pretty good show. I did like the main event. I thought the main event was very good tag team match. Probably my favorite part out of the entire show when it came to a certain storyline that I've been sinking my teeth into quite a bit is probably the Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton storyline. Very curious to see where that's going to go. And hopefully we get the payoff tomorrow when Tiffany finally does her thing, but we'll touch on that a little bit. AJ Styles returning was nice to see. Hopefully we get some sort of indication when it comes to exactly where that's going to go. Motor City Machine Guns, finally knowing that they're going to be coming to WWE. Really excited. Michin and Chelsea Green was a very fun match. And yeah, those are just all my overall thoughts. Like I said, I don't want to repeat too much like I said already in the show. But we'll see what Vash thinks, just to give his quick little rundown.
Look, I'm going to say keep it straight and simple. I love that we didn't need the main guy to be here. Not just speaking about Cody, even Roman, the top two stars of the company, the two faces. Even John Cena, in one of the interviews, said that he is the GOAT. He made back in 2011 the stock of WWE was $11. Now the stock of WWE and TKO is 117. Roman Reigns is what held in the back, and I'm glad they were not here. Do we need them every week? No, because you have a roster of, like, for example, 20, 30, 40 people on SmackDown and Raw. And you have a 2-hour show of 8 to 10 on SmackDown. You have the commercials. So if you take out the commercials, you have an hour and 20, an hour and 30 minutes of a show of a product to give. How can you give all the people, your employees, the line and the time of their network? And I feel like this show executed that very well. I was entertained. I had a dumpster match that gave me a reminiscing match of a casket match when I used to see of Undertaker. I saw a possible real injury from AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. That sucks to see. It was a bit awkward going on. Even JD and also Job said it earlier. JD from online, from New York, a big shout out. I actually met him at the House of Glory, so it was pretty cool to actually, meet him in person. So to actually see that AJ Styles was possibly injured in the ring, and it sucks that if this was actually part of something that actually happened there, and sucks to see because he was hyped to be back. He had a good moment. There's a video package that came last week. We had a video package that actually executed something but it didn't fall over like like a boy Giovanni Vinci. So it
Yeah,
sucks to
that's a
see
lot
when
of
things
stuff.
don't happen like that. We haven't seen our boy Apollo Cruz or Corbin, Baron Corbin, but I know that when things get better, the writing and everything, we will find the time for these gentlemen to get back on the screen. Our girls, they kick it out of the air when it comes to what they did for the promo for the match and to teasing of what could be happening weeks from now. And the tag team match, triple threat, it happened. The Bloodline retained. They did amazing. Great spots. Like I said, one of my favorites was the Blockbuster and the Frog Splash on Montez Ford that did to the table. Great spots they did. Our boy Angelo Dawson, I feel like this man's like Brawly. Like the way he just be showing like hype, or like I feel like he's some type of anime character. Like the way he always be screaming like he's just ready for saying, "Let's go." So I just love that type of attitude for my boy Angelo Dawson. So big shout out to them and their performance and their selling. It sucks that the Bloodline wins, but hopefully Street Profits gets their W one of these days, one of these times in the next coming weeks or months. So overall, that's my overall hype thoughts of SmackDown. If you want to see the details, go check the fucking comments of the time codes in the description down below because we appreciate it. Other than that, no, Bad Blood predictions.
Yeah, Bloodline. So we're gonna go over our Bloodline predictions now. So the first match that we have when it comes to our document, this isn't the exact order, but
Correct.
we have the WWE Women's Title, Nia Jax versus Bayley. So Watkins isn't here tonight, but Watkins' prediction was Nia Jax, and my prediction is Nia Jax as well. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like this is leading into the Tiffany Stratton cash in. That's the main reason why I chose Nia Jax here. Because if you think about it like this, if Bayley wins, you're not going to really get that same feeling if Tiffany were to cash in right there. You would get a better feeling knowing how Nia Jax won the match, she's celebrating and everything. And the once you get Tiffany Stratton just getting real fed up with Nia Jax, which I feel like you'll probably see throughout that match itself. She'll just continue to get under Tiffany's skin more and more and more. You're gonna see where Nia Jax wins, and then Tiffany Stratton just hits Nia with the briefcase. She's beating on her with it over and over and over again. It's like, okay, you're finally standing up to your bully. You're finally taking your bully down. You're finally, standing your ground. And then Tiffany's beaten, and then Tiffany cashes in, and she's going to be coming out of Bad Blood, which fits the theme, especially when it comes to their current relationship right now. You're gonna have Tiffany Stratton coming out as your new WWE Women's Champion, which is actually pretty crazy because she just came on the main roster this year, and here we are, October 5th, 2024. A little bit later in the world today, we're going to be seeing a new women's champion. So that is my prediction there. That is my explanation for it. I am going to pass the ball to Vash because Vash is a optimistic guy and he has a different prediction, and I'm very curious to hear his explanation on this. So keep in mind, when I make jokes about Vash, it's just for fun. I have nothing against Vash. Me and Vash have been friends for 8 years,
Yes.
so it's all in good fun.
One
But
day, me and Drop will actually give a backstory of how we're friends, or just do a little,
yeah,
probably like one-shot video on his channel or something, just for fun of it. But you're here for Weebs of the Ring for wrestling content, and my prediction is Bayley.
yeah,
Is there an
let's hear this.
actual reason? No, there's no fucking reason. It is because it is what Drop said. I am being optimistic because you know why? Bayley is Bayley. That's what it is. That is my reason. And also she gave a good reasoning. Hey, you gotta do what I gotta do. You are dominant. But I gotta take the belt back because I gotta make it back to what it is on the forefront. It is that I'm the greatest and I gotta speak to what it is to bring the title as a WWE and represent it to what the women's champion should be. I'm like, alright, cool, I believe you could win. Is she gonna win? Most likely not. It's Nia. But I believe in my girl Bayley. You winning champ.
All right, so moving on, we have the women's world title on the line. It's going to be Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, and Mr. Dominic Mysterio is going to be up all the way up in the air in a shark cage, and he has a fear of heights, and he's very claustrophobic, like Rhea Ripley said. And Watkins isn't here. He chose Liv Morgan, and I also chose Liv Morgan, and I'll explain my reasoning. So, when we were first getting to the builds of this PLE, I was on the board of Rhea Ripley retaining because I thought this was going to be the conclusion of their feud. But you got to look at it like this. If Rhea Ripley wins and she gets her title back against Liv Morgan, what else is there? Because that's pretty much the end of the story. Once Rhea gets her title back from Liv, you're all done. You know, no more story. There really isn't any point of like Rhea and Liv feuding anymore, because the whole point of this feud to begin with was Liv Morgan taking everything away from Rhea Ripley, taking her family away, taking her title, you know, taking a couple months away from her where she had to go out because of attacking her backstage and she was out for an injury for a little bit. So it's like once Rhea gets the title, everything's done. And I feel like they definitely have more stories that they want to tell with this, and I'll explain my reasoning with that. So the way that I see this happening is, okay, you got this match between Liv and Rhea, so you're probably thinking in your head, okay, you know, we're actually going to get a proper match. There isn't going to be any distractions or anything. Dominic is in the shark cage, so it's not like he's going to really be able to come out and do anything unless he slips something in there. Liv Morgan hits Rhea with it or something along the lines of that. But I don't really see them going down that direction. And I feel like they're doing this on purpose because they're trying to catch you off guard when it comes to like, oh, you know, Dominic's in the cage. Rhea has an easy win like that. It's almost like Mario finding a power star and just running right through that level and, you know, hitting the flag and moving on to the next one. I don't think it's going to be that easy. And that's why I feel like Raquel Rodriguez, which has been a reoccurring theme within the community, that she will be coming back and she will be aligning side Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day. And Raquel also has a lot of history with Rhea. They aren't really on the best terms, and we obviously know of we obviously know of Liv and Raquel's history. They were tag team champions before, and they both have a common enemy. So why not work together to take out that common enemy? So I feel like Raquel's going to come in and help Liv retain so she's able to keep that belt. And then this is probably going to lead to a Rhea versus Raquel match at Crown Jewel, because that's going to be Rhea's roadblock in order to get back to Liv. And then we're going to get that Team Rhea versus Team Liv match at Survivor Series. And then I can potentially see, actually, and I'm not going to say potentially, I can definitely see Rhea getting her belt back from Liv Morgan at the Saturday night main event, because if you guys follow the history of WWE, they always put on big matches there, and a title change happening at that PLE before we enter the new year and we start getting into the Royal Rumble season makes the most sense to me. So I see the feud ending at Saturday night main event. That's pretty much how I can see the story playing out from there, and that's why I'm saying Liv. So let's see what Vash's explanation is with Rhea, because I love hearing other people's thoughts on what their explanations are.
So I do want to give a little tail of the tape made by USA. So I want to give a big shout out to them. So the women's world title Rhea Ripley has, she's from South Australia. Her finish is the Riptide. She's the former women's world title for 379 days. She's the Royal Rumble winner of 2023 and the Grand Slam champion, and she's Dirty Dom ex-girlfriend. Liv Morgan, she is from New Jersey. Her finish is the Oblivion. Her accolade is the current women's title champion. She's the Money in the Bank winner from 2022, and she's a two-time women's tag team title champion, just like Drop mentioned, with Raquel Rodriguez, a two-time, and she's Dirty Dom's current girlfriend. So I want to give that little quick tail of the tape because that was sent by USA and everything, and it's interesting information to talk about. The reason I'm choosing Rhea because it's bad blood. Rhea is about the gothic side, and I feel like this is more up her alley. If this goes against Raquel and everything, this could be an additional support, but I feel like Rhea should be winning this because this is, I believe, their second or third match involved. This is their second match in the singles. Uh, Rhea lost the first one back at SummerSlam, and then Rhea won the previous one back in Bash in Berlin, right? The one that's big in September was Bash in Berlin, I think it was.
Yeah, towards the end of August, we got Rhea versus Liv. The Rhea Terra Twins
Yeah,
versus
Terror Twins,
Dom
yeah.
and,
So,
and Liv, and Rhea got her pin on Liv to get this match again.
so it just shows that will Rhea get this one? Right now it's a 1-1. One was a tag, one was a singles. I would like to see a Rhea win, but if Raquel does get involved, it will lean over towards Liv Morgan winning. And you need to have Liv being more dominant. So as much as in my inner soul to say Rhea to win, Mamacita to win, if Raquel gets involved, Liv needs to be dominant. She's been looking like, I'm gonna take a word from our girl Bayley. She's been looking like a patronizing stupid bitch. Her keep running from this Monday Night Raw, running away from Rhea while she's like, yo, get away from me. And Liv keeps running away, just having her hands like an Attack on Titan type of character. It's like, yo, why you just running away from Rhea? What the hell, girl? Like, you're supposed to be the woman champion, but you ain't being dominant. You're even leaving your boyfriend there on the side in the cage. So I love that. I would prefer if Liv does win with Raquel help, it will show the dominant side and it will show that she hired a bodyguard. But if Rhea could show the dominant that she is the champion, she is the scary one, then I would love for Rhea to win.
And it also like just gives Raquel the opportunity as well to have like a nice character change, because a lot of people were calling for a Raquel heel turn so she can get some new character work.
Yep.
So that's also another reason why I'm pushing towards Liv to retain, so it can also benefit Raquel's character in the long run and actually give her something new to do instead of what we saw her currently doing. So moving on to the next one, unless Vash has anything else to say.
I'm all good. I'm good to talk about our boy Damian Priest and Finn Balor the Demonic.
So Watkins chose Finn, and I probably could understand his reasoning, because when it comes to Finn, you know, he's been lacking on wins when it comes to 2024. He hasn't really gotten any big wins for quite some time. So I'm assuming that's why Watkins picked that, and that's definitely very understandable, and it could definitely head down that direction. Maybe Terror Twins actually aren't successful in the Bad Blood pay-per-view, and Finn and Liv actually go over. And it would definitely benefit Finn when it comes to like, okay, we got to keep the Judgment Day looking dominant. We got to, you know, be on top and everything. But when it comes to my prediction, I chose Damian, and my reasoning for that is because we constantly have seen Damian getting beat up by the Judgment Day over and over and over again throughout the entirety of this build. And there's just a part of me thinking like, okay, if Liv is gonna go over in her match, then part of me is thinking maybe we're gonna get Damian winning his, but Liv's gonna go over in hers, and we're going to extend that feud. And definitely, if Damian does win this match, you can definitely extend the feud even more. Or this could possibly actually lead into a no disqualification, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, because there's certain times to do that, and I'm not entirely sure if that's a good enough thing to do when it comes to this match, because it would just be like how we saw on Monday Night Raw of him constantly getting beaten, and I don't know if I really want to see that as a result of this match. But I could potentially see Damian getting the win over Finn, you know, adding more fuel to the fire with them, and then they can go back and forth. Maybe they want to do a rubber match out of this where they have Damian getting the first win, Finn gets the second, and then they do a tiebreaker to fully end that feud, because I don't think this is going to be the last match of them, because they definitely have a lot of story to build with this, especially when it comes to the early stages of the Judgment Day when they were together. They can definitely tell a longer story than this. And I'll even say this as well, you know, when it comes to the story between Damian and Finn, there's definitely like, I'll say it definitely felt very lacking when it came to the build of Bad Blood, because yes, we got those little vignettes of, you know, Damian talking about his brother's keeper, if you guys recall that promo. But it's like, other than that though, we haven't really gotten as much build with that as we got in like focus on Liv and Rhea throughout the week. It's usually just Damien coming out to, help out Rhea whenever the Judgment Day is there or everything, and then him and Finn getting a little scruffle. So we haven't really had it like that much fuel to that feud. So I definitely feel like it will extend a little bit longer, and this isn't going to be the last match we get. But I think I'm mainly just going off of my whole thing where it's like, okay, if Liv wins, then and Rhea doesn't go over, then Damien has to win his. But like I said, I could be completely wrong and Finn goes over. And I mean, hey, getting a win over Damien would definitely help the Judgment Day become more dominant. But those are my reasonings for it. What about you, Vash? I saw that you chose Damien as well. So what are your thoughts on your decision?
You said it well said. I can't add too much more than just saying that I vote for Damien because I'm a Damien fan. I'm part of the Ohana. I'm part of the family. My boy Damien said that we're part of his new family. The Judgment Day is not the family anymore. We are. So that means I'm part of your squad, Damien. I believe in you. But if Finn takes a W, I'm okay with too because Finn and his goons has been looking like some bitches. Like some stupid patronizing bitches out here. Because even Carlitos or JD McDonough, when they come out and Dom is just there, like they're just hanging out. Even JD doing some questionable stuff this past Monday, ignoring Dom's hug and getting more excited for Finn. So all those things are questionable. What's going to lead up to Finn? And Damien, I agree with what you said, Drop, that their feud has had a halt. Like their build-up hasn't been as stagnant as it should be. So hopefully overall the match is entertaining. Hopefully it has a good execution, because that's what I'm hoping for. And if there's a part 2 in Crown Jewel or a part 2 on a regular Monday Night Raw, I wouldn't mind either. But my vote for Damien, and if Finn wins, can we just get a consistent Finn? Because he's been really lacking in the main event picture. Even if he goes for Gunther, this may help him. If he takes a win over Damien, he could probably go for Gunther as well. I would love to see that.
Yeah, because I mean that's why like I can understand Watkins' reasoning behind this, because I definitely feel like he just wants that win for Finn just to help build his credibility a little bit more, which definitely makes a lot of sense. So I guess when it comes down to it, it's really a toss-up because, I mean, I'm still going to stick with my decision. I don't want to, like, change it just because of the topic of conversation. But, I mean, I guess it, like, works in both favors. They just need to, I'll say this. They need to do something within this match that makes us want to care to see it again and add more to the story. So that's the real factor here is what are we going to get out of this that really pops at us and says like, okay, this is actually getting interesting now. Like what's going behind the scenes? What is Finn thinking of behind the scenes when it comes to this match? Next match we are going to be talking about, which is the main event of the show. And then we'll actually talk about the opening match of the show, which I definitely understand why this is going on. I actually will get into my reasoning now. But we have Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And we had Watkins choose Solo and Jacob. And just like Watkins, I also chose Solo and Jacob Fatu as well. And the reason why I chose Solo and Jacob Fatu is because I feel like this is probably going to lead into a Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns match at Crown Jewel. And the reason why I say this is because obviously this new bloodline needs a lot of credibility so they can remain dominant, they can remain on top. And when it comes to Solo Sikoa, him getting a big win, including Jacob in there as well, having them get a big win over Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, going over the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are the top guys in WWE. It's 1A and 1B, kind of like how Rock and Austin were all those years ago. It's 1A and 1B. That's how it is at Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes now. But them getting a big win over that would do wonders for the bloodline. It would actually give them more credibility. It would actually give you that shock factor where it's like, holy shit, they actually went over in this match. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of people on here that are probably thinking, it's Cody and Roman. They're obviously going to win this, but at the same time, you got to look at the bigger picture. What is the story telling us? What is this going to lead to? And the next question to really ask is who is taking the pin between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns? And I will say this, when it comes to Cody Rhodes, he is the WWE champion, and you need to have the WWE champion protected. You need to make him look dominant. You need to protect him. So I can realistically see Roman Reigns getting pinned in this scenario, because you got to look at it like this. Roman even spoke about in interviews before, especially when it came to the documentary, that he loves doing things for his family. You know, he wants his family to get that recognition that they deserve and everything like that. He's willing to do anything for them. Talking about the behind the scenes thing. So I can easily see Solo Sikoa pinning Roman Reigns in this match, because if you look at this match realistically, if you're going to choose Cody and Roman winning or Solo and Jacob Fatu winning, the only person within those two teams that would realistically get a pin is either Roman Reigns or Solo Sikoa himself, because Jacob Fatu, they're trying to build him as like the next big thing. They're going to want him to be protected. Cody Rhodes is WWE champion. They got to keep him protected. But this just adds more layers to the story. So another reason why I feel like it's going to be playing out with like this is you got to look at exactly, okay, why is this show main eventing? Like,
yes,
why?
I appreciate you saying that, because we haven't mentioned
Yep.
that. This is the match that is main eventing
Ooh.
Bad Blood.
Yep. And the reason why this show is main eventing is obviously something big is going to happen. I don't think Solo Sikoa pinning Roman Reigns is like, yes, it's a big thing for Solo's character, but that's not really how you end a show. Because if you're going to do something like that and just end off the show with Solo Sikoa pinning Roman Reigns, then you might as well just have this match in the beginning if you're going to do something like that. And even with Jimmy Uso returning, that really wouldn't be that big of a thing to really have this to end the show.
However,
So what I'm leading into is The Rock is more than likely going to be coming back tomorrow at Bad Blood towards the end of this match, or possibly towards like the ending result of this match, something along the lines of that, because you got to end off the show with a bang and a typical pin or submission or whatever. Isn't going to really do that. So the Rock coming back and actually factoring himself in to what's currently going on, and hypothetically he gets an interaction with Roman, gives him a rock bottom, a people's elbow, or whatever, or just simply goes up to Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, and you'll think at first, oh, he's just coming out there to help Roman Reigns. But what if the Rock doesn't even have to touch Roman, and he just goes up to Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa raises his hand, or he just comes out and does this? Like, it could easily be something like that, and then you'll know where Rock's head is, because it was said that Rock was supposed to come down around this fall. So
it's pretty interesting from what we're finally leading up to, because we had, for anybody that's not in the interweb, we had an interview with Pat McAfee with Cody Rhodes, and at the end of the interview, Pat McAfee said, "Hey, I heard the big guy's coming." When you say the big guy, aka the final boss, that's Mr. Man himself, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and then when you have The Rock taking another fucking main event PoE away from Mr. CM Punk, where well deserved, because that's the next topic we're gonna end the show with. The Hell in a Cell match of Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk should have main evented the PoE of Bad Blood. When you have a Bad Blood Hell in a Cell event like this, but instead it's starting the show.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta end it off with a bang. If you're gonna have something happening within this match itself, then it has to be something big. And Rock coming back would be something big, and it would make sense to end the show. But yeah, continue on.
To add to that as well, Cody Rhodes did say during Pat McAfee's show that there's a video package that will be released on for Bad Blood, that it will be speculation of what could lead up to
Crown Jewel, right?
correct, of what could lead up to Ground Jewel and for other stuff in the future. So this Bad Blood event has been leading up to for many months since I think SummerSlam, with the commercial or ad with Metro Booming of what's been leading up to. So it's pretty exciting for what it is. If I haven't said it yet, my hope for winning was Cody and Roman. But the reason I say this is because I don't know who will be pinning who. The reason I say that, I could agree with Solo and Jacob. They will most likely be winning. But who would be pinning who? Would it be Solo pinning Roman? I agree. I agree with Drop. That's the best solution out of this, because Cody already got pinned by Solo once, already 3 months ago, back in I think Money in the Bank or in June, for him to get that match there. So accordingly, Cody doesn't need another pin. He's right now solid. He's good. He's chilling. But Roman, he could take the L. Like Job said back in the documentary of him back early this year, he showed the love for his family. He even said that, look at this. You guys used to think the Usos was one person. Now we have a main event Jey Uso, and we have no Jimmy Uso. So we have them, and we have them be their own person, their own identity. Now we have Solo becoming his own, our real tribal chief. We have Jika Fatu, giving his own promo and do his own thing tonight. So at the end of the day, Roman will do his best for his family to move forward, to be the dominating force of pro wrestling, like they are in the indies, like they are right now in the most biggest wrestling company in the world. So if Cody and Roman don't win, I will understand that Solo and Jacob won. But the match that should have been the main event for Bad Blood, we have our next one is Hell in a Cell, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. And I'm going to say it right now, Watkins, myself, and Drop all have Mr. CM Punk winning the main event. I mean, winning the match himself.
Yeah, he is winning the main event.
I wish he was. He saw my guy included in the main event himself. He said, fuck The Rock. Who's going to be part of the main event is myself. I mean, 2 matches. Nah, I wish. But yeah, Punk is going to be winning the match of Drew McIntyre. And I'm going to say simple. It's because he should. He already has 1 loss over CM Punk. I mean, over Drew McIntyre. And has he has 1 win over Drew McIntyre. So right now it's tie. And the person that should go over is Punk to lead into versus our boy Gunther in Crown Jewel or Survivor Series to lead up to, because our boy CM Punk has been putting the work.
Yeah. So yeah, like Vash said, I was about to call you Watkins. Like Vash said, I chose Punk because it makes sense for Punk to win this match, and I honestly feel like this is probably going to be one of the most graphic matches we've seen in recent WWE, because I believe I actually watched an interview with Punk with where he was talking about how he wanted to really bring back that feeling when it came to the Hell in the Cell, to actually properly showcase okay, this is where you end feuds, this is how these sort of matches are supposed to look like. We really want to bring that feeling back again, especially since it's like the anniversary of the Bad Blood pay-per-view this year. Obviously, I believe it's like the 24th anniversary or the 20th. No, it's 24th, right? 24th.
From what I saw, it's 24th anniversary as well.
Yeah, so it's the 24th anniversary of Bad Blood. So obviously you want to hit it on the mark. Obviously you want to make this memorable. And I could see this being, like I said, one of the most graphic matches that we've seen, because if you're opening up the show, even though a lot of us thought this was going to close out the show, but if you are opening up the show, you want to start it off with a bang. You want to show exactly what lengths Drew and Punk are willing to go in order to really catch us off guard and just be like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just watch? You want that feeling where you want to go back and rewatch this again. You want this to be a match of the year contender. You want this to be a classic. And that's what it definitely feels like. And they've been building this up pretty well. They didn't really need to add that much to the build-up, really, because when Punk came out and he cut that promo by himself when he came out there all serious and stuff, and what they did this week on Monday Night Raw, I mean, they didn't really need to add anything else. They obviously did it because they wanted to add more to build up to the match, and then obviously throw that in for the video packages. But it's like, I'm just expecting this to be a. I'll actually use one of Vash's words that he's been saying. I actually do expect this to be a blood bath. Legitimately, I do expect it to be like that because, I mean, when you see blood being thrown into a match, obviously it makes sense to do it when it calls for it, not always do it every single time, because then you just lose that feeling and it doesn't really feel memorable, if that makes any sense. So at least with this match, knowing how we know these two hate each other, it definitely calls for it to be as violent as it possibly can get. And I'm expecting to be like, I'm expecting to get chills while watching this match, like actually fully feel like actually just inserting myself within the match itself. Well, I mean, God forbid I was in a Hell in a Cell match, but pretty much feeling like you're there in person watching this go on. Like, I definitely can see these two bringing that feeling back again, and just going with the direction of Punk. It makes sense for him to win because, like Vash said already, they already started teasing a match with Gunther, so I can definitely see Punk getting a big win over Drew in this Hell in a Cell match would definitely start leading into that match of Gunther. I don't see it happening at Crown Jewel. I do see it happening at Survivor Series because that was the original rumor that this match would take place at Survivor Series when it comes to Punk and Gunther. So whenever Gunther's done with Sammy and then he starts that feud with Punk, I could definitely see the match take place there. And I personally, depending on what sort of direction they want to go down with this, which I've seen a lot of other people talk about as well, I would personally have Drew go on SmackDown or something, because it's, or he just goes away from television for a little bit after just being
Appreciate you saying that.
beaten by a bloody pulp. Because if you look at it realistically, let's say me and Vash had like a lot of hatred for one another, and me and Vash were on Monday Night Raw, and we were having a Hell in a Cell match to finally conclude everything. To, we're having a rubber match to see who's going to come out on top. And let's say that Vash won the match. It would make sense for me to go on SmackDown so we can get away from one another, because it realistically doesn't really make sense for Drew and Punk to be on the same show after all of that shit that they went through. It's best to really separate them so they're not around each other anymore. Just kind of like how they did a little while ago when like Ray and Dominic were like always up each other's asses all the time, and then they ended up bringing Ray to Monday Night Raw. They ended up bringing Ray to SmackDown, and then Dominic was on Monday Night Raw. It's like one of those things. It's just separate them so they're not around each other. So I can't say I could see them doing that, but I feel like it would be a good decision to have Drew go on SmackDown, so at least there's more heels over there.
I agree, and also it would be nice to add maybe Drew versus Cody, add some different flavor to it. To something that we haven't gotten, or Drew versus Roman again, or Drew versus the Bloodline, things that we could continue off where we left off. And you bring a good point, like if Punk wins tomorrow, don't have Drew come back for a couple weeks, and then or have Adam Pearce say, like, hey, I see you and Punk still hate each other. I'm gonna have you transfer, and then bring AJ Styles to Monday Night Raw, like have a nice little friendly transfer of draft where it could work and it's civil.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I like see it. Like, because they even mentioned trades too on SmackDown as well.
And also trades happen in sports, so it will feel organic.
Yeah, because I remember they mentioned this earlier in the draft about potentially doing trades, and this would be the perfect way to do it. With Drew's off the shelf for a couple months to sell the Hell in a Cell match, just to sell, the result of the match of Punk coming up top and beating him. And you could easily just have him show up on a SmackDown or like, something along the lines of that. Like, I don't expect Drew to be gone for like 6 to 8 months, but, at least putting him on a different show, giving him a new environment so he's not around CM Punk, I feel like would be the best decision. But those are my overall thoughts on it. Not sure if Vash has anything else to say, but that's all I got to say about the Punk and Drew Hell in a Cell match.
Me and Drew said how it is that Punk is gonna be winning. If Watkins brought it up, we would be doing our bad blood coverage for tomorrow. Stay tuned. Maybe 11 p.m. EST will be the latest. We will be live since the show starts at 6. 10 p.m. might be ending the latest, and then press conference usually is an hour long. So 11 p.m. we might be live during the press conference on the Twitch side, but that's the last thing I will say about that. Other than that, we appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think about the show, the new channel. Subscribe to help the new channel. This is a dedicated channel for everything of the Weebs of the Ring spin-off product. When it comes to wrestling, when it comes to Grappling of the Week, the new show that we will be launching, and wrestling interviews that we will be soon putting out in the coming weeks.
Yeah, because we thought this would be a good idea to just organize everything right here, so it's not on the Anime We Studio channel. Because yes, you know, me, Watkins, and Vash had a lot of fun doing Weebs of the Ring on there, but you know, since YouTube is a new place when it comes to not really focusing on older channels, and they sort of put more thought into pushing newer channels on the platform, which is something I could definitely relate to when I came back with my channel and I started posting content. I mean, I can definitely see the growth from there. Same thing with Watkins. We just feel like having Weebs of the Ring as its own separate channel, still part of Anime We Studios, but its own separate channel where it's solely focused on wrestling content. Because obviously, if we're going to be building an audience when it comes to other fans that happen to be big fans of, you know, WWE, AEW, you know, etc., so on, you want to have it on one platform, so that way when you see the sort of content that we put out, you know exactly what you're coming here for. So this is the first episode on here. Hopefully you guys liked it, and we're going to be getting into our outro to close out the show.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Also, a soon-to-be audio feed dedicated for Weebs of the Ring as well. I've been working on it today and yesterday, so it should be ready by the earliest Sunday, maybe earliest tomorrow. I'm doing my best on that. But definitely stay tuned. Like the show. If you like what we're doing, appreciate you and taking the time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what I said? We're known as Anime We Studio on all social media platforms, soon to be Weebs of the Ring platform, so check that out. And that's a we with a 3, because we stand for wrestling, webtoons, and much more. Also, use the hashtag of Weebs of the Ring to interact with all of us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after the show. But now you have a dedicated channel that you'll be seeing shorts as well, or clips about our show that's dedicated for other product. And feedback is always appreciated, as we're nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by Anime Studio. Thanks for our production team, Vash, Watkins, and Drop ourselves, and Ron for the logo and the layouts, and Jokester for the gaming side, as well as a special thanks to our producers. Thank you for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow for Bad Blood.
See you guys tomorrow.